Life at Manchester United has been very stressful over the last 18 months. Erik Ten Hag must be pulling his hair out. Well, fair to say the PR department at Manchester United has not had the greatest few months, and the drama of Jadon Sancho is just another example to add to the collection. As this week, his manager, Erik Ten Hag, came out and announced that Jadon would not be involved in the squad against Arsenal because of poor training performances. Well, Jadon took to Twitter to respond, claiming false news. But what is the truth, and just what is going on with Jadon Sancho? You know what's crazy about all of this? If Jadon Sancho doesn't say a single word, he's probably playing next weekend. Antony's due to be suspended given the allegations hovering over him at the moment. He could have had that right wing slot held down. He's got no competition. Anybody that could play there is in jail or on the way to court. This would have been him strolling into that starting 11. I'm convinced United have got to be doing their scouting through police reports at this point. Gotta say, boss, I think he'll do an extremely good job on the wing. All right, that's great news. Obviously, we want someone that's able to cut inside. We want someone that's got dribbling ability. Wait, you mean the wing, like, football-wise, don't you? Stephen, tell me you don't mean the jail wing. Meanwhile, Getafe are waiting outside of the court for Antony to arrive for their next pre-season training camp. Honestly, with the way they've treated Mason Greenwood, I would not be surprised to see Getafe starting 11 looking a little bit different next season.
And so for Hell FC, the worst people in history, it's Idi Amin in goal. On the wings are Joseph Kony and Paul Potts.
This is not what United fans meant when they said they wanted wingers that were a bit more like Ryan Giggs. But no, instead of just walking on straight through the door into the Manchester United starting 11, Jadon Sancho and all the other right wingers at the club are getting locked out of Carrington. Because I'll be honest, this statement is a little bit damning in terms of suggesting that Erik is lying. He reckons he's being used as a scapegoat, and that's a really important quote out of this statement, which has been pinned on his Twitter account, by the way. I respect it, man. This guy is not only earning money from playing football, he's getting that sweet Twitter blue engagement cash as well. This man is playing for Manchester United and farming impressions on the side. So just to clarify exactly what happened here, Erik Ten Hag, after Manchester United's defeat to Arsenal at the Emirates, in the press conference after or an interview after the game, tells the media why Jadon wasn't involved in the squad entirely, because he wasn't on the subs bench, he wasn't in the starting 11 obviously, and he basically says that his training performances from the week in the build-up to the Arsenal game were just simply not good enough. On his performance and training, we didn't select him. You have to reach a level every day at Manchester United. You can make choices in the front line, so in this game, he wasn't selected. Now, obviously, I'm going to assume he's had this conversation with Jadon before the game. He's probably not just going to leave him off the team bus and just head down to London. But clearly, this conversation hasn't happened in a properly transparent way. Otherwise, I don't think Jadon would have responded like this. But to be fair, it's also something that managers do very frequently. Maybe they don't talk up about it in the media as much, but if you perform badly in training in the eyes of the coaching staff and the manager, you probably will get dropped. So an hour after this interview drops, Jadon Sancho comes out on Twitter and says, "Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I have conducted myself in training very well this week." Now, look, listen, difference of opinion, all right? But in fairness, if your manager is saying that he thinks your training performance hasn't been good enough, you kind of just got to take it on the chin and just really prove why he was wrong. He goes on to say, "I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't get into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair." This is the most interesting sentence out of the whole statement, because the rest of the statement is just being like defending himself, protecting his identity, protecting the fact that he's not a bad trainer, he does try hard, where he's talking about other reasons outside of training being a reason why he's not being selected, and the fact that he's a bit of a scapegoat, which I do kind of agree with in terms of United's front line. Either way, things are going to get a little bit tense between him and Erik in their next training session together. We all know how these sorts of things go at Manchester United from the past, and obviously there's been a lot of discourse about this statement that Jadon's made, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of big content creators associated with United, saying that he should take the statement down, delete it, and get back on with his football. But to be honest, I totally disagree. Now, pinning it, crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, pinning it to the top of your Twitter profile above everything else, probably should have been advised not to do that. But I think putting out the statement itself is fine. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world of football when it comes to a manager being able to say something that's clearly been talked about in private between the two of them and outwardly project his opinion of what Jadon's been like in training, and then suddenly a player can't come out and talk about it as well. Now, don't get it twisted. I understand that there is that hierarchy. A manager is above the players, right? He has to have some kind of control of with the troops. He can't just be undermined in terms of his management of everybody. But it's this crazy judgment every time a player comes out and shows like any emotion. Should he maybe try and reach out and reconcile things with Erik before it becomes too blown over? I don't know how he's gonna really resonate with Erik, to be honest with you. He might just have to like go bald, and like the Dutchman will be able to see through his antics when he comes to his office to apologize, just so he can start at right winger again.
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
What I will say is this situation definitely seems to be a lot more complex than just a manager calling out a player's training and then the player getting a little bit angry about it. Because in the following days, about 3 days ago as I'm recording this video, reports then came out from Manchester United staff, bear that in mind, saying that Jadon was a complicated character and giving examples where he hadn't been too happy to wear the shirt or be involved in press runs and maybe been a bit reserved and introverted, but also wasn't maybe giving his all to really represent the brand and represent the club, that he wasn't a nice person just overall. Now, we're not idiots, all right? The timing of leaks like that coming out of the club is crazy. And again, use Jadon as a bit of a scapegoat, which is what he's saying in his statement in the first place. But the use of complicated is really interesting in what they've said, because of course Jadon went to the Netherlands last year to do like a catered almost training camp because he was struggling with mental issues, and he had to take some time away from the club, take some time away from being out on the pitch. There was an outpouring of emotion for him. I joked about ending up on a podcast, but Jesse Lingard talked about the weight and the pressure and the sometimes dark places that footballers end up being in. We talk about all the emotions that we get out of football, the love, the drama, the disappointment, the heartache, and fans themselves on fan channels and just down in the pub could always express those emotions, but then players are kind of expected to just bottle everything up. It was only a few weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, that the Dele Alli stuff broke out. But either way, a planned smear campaign from Manchester United staff is not the best way to go about treating a player like that, especially when you've got Anthony and Mason Greenwood, who have potentially done far worse things than him, and they're getting defended. I don't know, maybe if Jadon commits a crime, Erik will rate him higher. But I'm not going to dwell on them, because this video is about Jadon Sancho. Either way, you know, the stuff the staff have been saying from United about him being difficult to work with, a complicated character, the players still really like him. Because in a video literally released this week, I think it went out on TikTok and stuff, a few of the players, I think it was Garnacho, Rashford, and Mason Mount, and a couple of others were being asked about their favourite qualities in their teammates, and a lot of them said Jadon had the best sense of humour, music taste, all of this jazz. They clearly still get along with him as a person and as a teammate, which is why it seems also planned from the coaches leaking all this stuff or talking to the press about what he's like. Now, I for once actually have like one example myself, because back in the day I did some work with Borussia Dortmund and Jadon Sancho was playing for them at the time, and we did a shoot with him and he seemed really sound. I was meant to interview him and he got an ankle injury, so he couldn't do it, which was, I was fuming. But in the other group video that we did, he always had a smile on his face, he seemed really sound, he connected well with his teammates and the staff there. It is of course only one example, listen, don't get it twisted, I know that, but you know, I don't think we should be as quick to jump on these players, and he's still a young footballer, and it is a mistake. You know, Erik Ten Hag was quoted himself as saying, "We humans are in this world to help each other and not shoot each other." Really supportive stuff, a nice statement. Apart from when you realise it was him defending his colleague Mark Overmars for harassing people in the workplace. Yeah, maybe Jadon does have to commit a crime. At no point can we question Jadon Sancho's ability. If we look back to Bundesliga Borussia Dortmund Jadon, he was one of the most sought after forwards in the world. His link-up play with Erling Haaland was unbelievable, and Erling has come to the Premier League and broken pretty much every record that could be broken by any half-robot, half-anti-capture device man. Obviously, things have been a lot harder for Jadon, and I'm sure there's a lot of different reasons as to why, you know, United haven't exactly been the most stable football club to be at for a lot of his time in the Premier League so far, and he was struggling with issues outside of football as well all of last season that may have continued into this season. Either way, the situation is a mess, but I do hope it can be resolved, because I genuinely think this would be a great opportunity for Jadon to really rebuild his career in the Premier League with some genuine time in the starting 11 for a couple months maybe in a row here. What do you make of this situation though? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to slap a like on it, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.